All right. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, who rule well and who taught me this truth. And shalom to you, sincere Akim, out there listening, learning, and pushing this truth. And shalom to the few sincere Akwath that are out there listening and learning as well. With that being said, I'm going to jump straight into this video. I don't want to ratazah, it'll be edifying. As usual, I'm going to go into Rakah Kwadash. And it's going to be real quick. I saw this article off of Sky News. And when I saw this, the first thing that popped into my mind was, yeah, Esau Edom is ready to roll out this NWO, and he's preparing to replace you, because he already knows that it's going to be mass chaos. You know, people are going to be striking. You see it's happening more and more around the world. It's inevitable. You know, there's going to be uproars of the people, and he's already taken into account that, you know, he's going to have to replace you. And what is he going to replace you with? He's going to replace you with military. All right? It's going to be military checkpoints. You know, that's the times that we're coming into. You know, these cities, these these different these different cities are going to be militarized, man. All right? You know, and it's going to be a global thing. That's the new world order. That's the way things are going. So Second Esdras chapter 15 came to mind when I saw this. All right, but let me read a little bit of the article. Again, off of Sky News, it reads, breaking. Troops training at Heathrow, that's a major airport, and it says troops training at Heathrow and Gatwick airports ahead of border force strikes. And that's in UK, all right, England. So it says border force staff who check passports at the UK's borders are going on strike over Christmas as they call for better pay. And you see that's the sentiment all throughout the four corners of the earth. Everybody's striking, everybody's protesting over what? The wages. The cost of living is going up. Inflation is setting in. You know, all throughout the four corners of the earth, the people are tired of being oppressed. And Esau Edom has already taken into account that he's going to have to what? Replace you. He's got the AI ready to go. The robots ready to replace you. He's got everything in order, you know. So it says troops have been training at Heathrow and Gatwick airports for passport checking roles ahead of border force staff going on strike over Christmas. The Ministry of Defense confirmed to Sky News armed forces personnel arrived at London's two main airports earlier this week. The PCS's union announced on Wednesday that border force officers will go on strike at the airports from the 23rd to the 26th and the 28th to the 31st December after they rejected a 2% pay raise offer from the government. They will also go on strike at Birmingham, Cardiff, Glasgow, and Manchester airports, as well as the Port of New Haven. About 75% of passport control staff are PCS members, meaning the majority of staff checking passports will be going on strike. The Cabinet Office this week said up to 600 military personnel and 700 civilian servants were being trained. That's a lot of people. The Cabinet Office this week said up to 600 military personnel and 700 civil servants were being trained to support a range of services, including border force at airports and ports, in the event of strike action. The Home Office has warned the strikes are likely to lead to longer queues at passport, queues meaning lines. The Home Office has warned the strikes are likely to lead to longer queues at passport control at one of the busiest times of the year for airports. Airports have advised travelers to check the status of their flights before traveling. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak visited visited an RAF base on Friday, where he thanked military personnel for stepping in and missing their Christmas. We all owe them an enormous debt of gratitude, he said. He added that this priority is to protect lives and to minimize the disruption on people's lives, but insisted the government will always try and act fairly and reasonably with public sector pay. And not to mention, they ready to replace you. And right now, they're like over here in America, they had the railroad strikes. They were going to go on strike, and they forced the workers back to work. The government stepped in and forced them back to work. You had over there in France, they forced the petrol workers to go back to work. But if all that doesn't work, what they're ready to replace you with military personnel. Not to mention, like I said, they got a lot of these drones, these robots. Everything is in order to replace. Basically you're useless eaters, man. He's ready to roll out this agenda, and he ain't playing around, man. That's the point. That's pretty much it, man. You can read the whole thing if you want, but that's pretty much the point. But when I saw that, man, 2nd Ezra 15 came to mind for sure, because we're in these times, man. All hell is about to break loose. Esau Edom, he's actually behind his timeline to roll out this NWO. He was supposed to roll it out in 2020. Operation Warp Speed. Remember Trump was talking about Operation Warp Speed? This is all part of the New World Order agenda. Again, these cities are going to be militarized. Why? Because all hell is going to break loose. All right. Esau Edom has already taken that into account. All right. Trucker strikes, railroad strikes. Mass walkout on these jobs. He already knows, man. So what's going to happen? Martial law is going to set in, and that's where 2nd Ezra 15 and 17 comes to mind. So this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. I'm gonna start at 14 though. All right. It says, woe means destruction. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And again, the world, that's talking about the whole entire inhabited earth. Oikumene, the whole world. All right. Not just here in America, Babylon the Great, but all throughout the four corners of the earth. You see, it's a global reset. It's a global agenda, ultimately to roll out this charagma, this digital ool, this RFID CHIP. But before that happens, he's got to collapse the world economy. So it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword, the ultimate sword, is going to be those missiles, the nukes, the Lord's arrows, but also the modern day sword is the gun. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, because these kingdoms are divided. And Yahushua HaMashiach said, if a kingdom be divided against itself, it can't stand. The kingdoms are divided on every front. Okay? That's also how we know our redemption is nigh. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And Esau Edom knows that. It's going to be race wars, class wars, all hell is going to break loose. For there shall be sedition. That's why he's trying to control the collapse. He's trying to control the collapse the best he can, because he knows once he does certain things, there's no going back. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, because the people are tired of being oppressed, because the wicked is ruling. And people's backs are against the wall, and they're going to have no choice but to lash out. You see? So it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. It's going to be global, a global thing, worldwide. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, their leaders, their governors, their mayors, their presidents, their prime ministers, you see? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's why ultimately they're going to implement martial law, checkpoints, military personnel all over the place, in your grocery stores, in your government buildings. It's going to be lockdown. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. It's going to be the time of Jacob's trouble. We keep warning you about Daniel 12:1, a time like never before. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The modern day sword again is the gun, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Famine is going to be setting in, lack of resources, a lack of victuals, you know, no work, the grinding is going to be low. It's going to be evil times, man. All these benefits are going to come to naught. Section 8, it's already coming to naught. Food stamps, all these public programs are going to be done away with in them times. You see? It's going to be every man for themselves. Survival of the fittest, a dog-eat-dog world. Esau knows this, and he's taking this into account. That's why he's training the military personnel to replace you. You see? It says, Behold, saith Yahweh, I will call together the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the right. Oh, that's the point. That's the point. All right? That was the point. Okay? So, hey, man, these are the times that we're coming into, man. Evil times. Perilous times. And Esau Edom again is preparing. He's preparing to replace you with the military personnel, and also he's got the AI, the robot, the drones. He's ready to roll out this agenda, man. Operation Warp Speed, he's behind. And this devil is about to come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. Revelation 12:12. Alright, so anyway, with that being said, hey man, keep pushing, keep fighting, we're close. Shalom. Wa abad babal, kwam yasharala.